It's time to bring you yet another amazing episode. And now, welcome your host.
Now, the whole essence of embracing personal development is for us to become a truer version of ourselves. It's a whole new meaning to life when we are intentional about improving on ourselves, not just personally, but also spiritually. Now, the mission and the focus of Lawali Omobola Stephen is for us to stir the minds of our audience positively with life transforming insights from professionals who have been there and also done that. This is the mission indeed of the show. We want to offer disruptive yet constructive mindship conversations that will literally pivot the positive changes you and I need in this side of eternity as it was originally meant to be. I'm your host once again, Omobola Stephen. On today's show, I have David Griffiths, who is a sought after coach and mentor in the digital space. He's also an accomplished gospel recording artist with me on the show. And now we will be talking about how we can break through the noise, practical steps for getting noticed in a crowded digital world. Thank you once again for joining me on the show, David Griffiths.
It's my pleasure to be here with you.
Pleasure having you once again and looking forward to a great time. Interestingly, I'd just like to know how you really got to where you are in terms of being a digital creator and also an accomplished gospel recording artist. How did you get here? What really led to this path?
Well, let's see. The musical journey has been the longer one, but I always had a passion for expressing myself through music, and I enjoy songwriting. And so at an early age, when I was taking piano, I was creating songs and used that really as a way to decompress and a lot of people use journaling, but I'd use music as my way of journaling. And so I think that just positioned me to one day want to, as a part of how I share with the world, to be a recording artist. I owned and operated a recording studio for about 20 years, and I've produced other artists as well as doing my own recording. So I've enjoyed that journey as a way of, I see it as a way of self-expression and really finding my meaning and value by having this method of communicating my truth to the world. But social media is a more recent occurrence.
Absolutely. Now we'll really be talking more about the social media. Okay, really, let's get right into it. What are some common mistakes people make when they try to get attention online, and how can they avoid them? And I think this is very peculiar to each and every one of us.
Absolutely. Great question. The first issue, when you go online, you have to know why you're there. And in order to do that, you have to be very clear on who you are and what the value that you have to offer is and who that value is for. So why is this important? Well, content creating is fun and exciting and adventurous. It's great to try to see what kind of things you can put together and then post and see if people like it and see if it will spread. See if you can figure out the algorithm. That's fun. But in reality, it's a very enjoyable, time-consuming game if it's not aligned with a preconceived purpose. So like, if I'm going to help people to get out of debt, then I'm probably going to make content about financial things so that I draw people who are dealing with debt to me with the content that I create. So even if there are other kinds of content that are trending, so maybe animals, content with animals in it are trending, maybe there are different pranks that are trending, unless they are aligned with solving or soothing the pain points or problems of the people that I wish to serve, then I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because my purpose for being on social media is clear to me. And what I find is many people, they just get into the idea of, okay, let me see how many followers I can get. Let me see how many likes I can get. And then they forget the fact that when they do these different challenges and they create this different kind of content, people don't know who they are and they don't know what the value is in following them. And so if you don't have clarity before you begin, then social media becomes a hobby and not so much a tool to help you with your business.
Hey, David, you know that this can really be challenging. Now, here now we talk about building a personal brand and also your business brand all together simultaneously. Right now, so how can a person stay relevant with their brand on the internet or the social media space?
I think what you said was how they can remain relevant. Sometimes people believe that they have to be someone else to get recognized or to get famous. And I would like to encourage every one of your listeners that their authentic self will allow them to be consistent and have a personal brand that will allow them to serve the people that most align with what it is that they offer. If they try to be someone else, they're going to have to keep doing that over and over again. And eventually people will notice the disconnect. So I think people connect much more with people than they do with a generic brand concept, which is why so many of the experts have been encouraging us to make sure that we have a personal brand. Even if we have a business, make sure there's a story to it. Make sure that there's a personality attached to it, because people attach with people much more strongly than just business entities. So I think that by making sure that we're authentic to who we are and starting from that place, I think that is really the way that you end up being successful. I find that most of the clients that I have that struggle, sometimes there's self-doubt. We don't want to just, sometimes we don't feel confident that who we are is enough as we come to share content. But in reality, who we are and our idiosyncrasies are what's going to draw the right people to us if we're just consistent with showing up that way.
Okay, now, so what do you suggest now in this instance? Is it important to build a personal brand first off, then your business brand, or which should come first?
Your personal brand. So I believe that your personal brand, the personal brand, I like literally, I see it over and over again now in the online space. People are connecting with people. So even if it's a big company, they're utilizing and leveraging that personal connection to really make things work. When you're scrolling online, if there's a solution to something that's very painful to you, you'll pay attention. So it's possible for a company, by making sure that all their content is aligning to your pain point, to get your attention. But if people want to have a relationship, they want to have a relationship with someone. And so it's really important establishing that personal brand. A lot of people don't trust companies. A lot of people, they need to trust a person that is consistent and authentic. And then if that's the face of the company, then they feel a greater sense of know, like, and trust. And then it serves well the actual brand that they began with, the personal brand.
Right. Now, talking about I want to be like stuff, the imposter syndrome. Yeah, it often happens in the digital space. Are there strategies you can recommend as a professional in this regard for anyone struggling with this?
With imposter syndrome,
Right.
um, someone who I work with, growth coach Danny Williams, I believe he's a growth coach on Instagram. He helps people with techniques of affirmations and helping them to do a mind shift, is what he calls it. He's someone who's really good. Dr. Kristen Guillory, she's really amazing with helping people with their mindset. And honestly, I think what we can all do is start off the day talking kindly to ourselves. This may seem like, wow, Dave, is that really important for my business or my social media? Well, what happens to us is we're used to being critical of ourselves. We're used to having other people, it may have been our parents or our teachers, being critical, and then we're used to talking to ourselves in that same critical voice. So it's no wonder that when we go to do something that's new or challenging or different, that we're afraid to make mistakes. We're afraid we're going to fail because we're used to being criticized. So instead, we need to start off affirming ourselves. We need to start with self-love and self-care so that we develop a sense of peace and confidence when it comes to showing up authentically as ourselves, even in our content creation.
And now I'm thinking in my head right now, is there anything wrong with someone who's not getting noticed in the digital space? Now, let's begin with the social media platform.
Is there anything wrong with someone who's not getting noticed?
Yeah.
No. So are you saying, so if someone's not getting noticed and they come to me, what are some tips that I would give them?
Right.
Yeah, okay. So if someone's not getting noticed, the first thing I would do is say, let's start with doing some research. Well, what could be some kind of research that we would do? Well, first of all, if you have a particular subject, let's say it's health. Let me say that it's women's health. Let me be very specific. And let me say it's women's health over 40. So if that is your vertical or your niche or your subject matter, then I would suggest that you search that hashtag, women's health over 40. And you go look and see what content is already being successful. So you go and you put that hashtag in, and then you see, oh, okay, this piece of content went viral. Go see who the creator is. Does the creator have a lot of content that's doing well? Oh, if they do, put that person on your list. And maybe come up with 5 people like that who are already demonstrating competence in the vertical that you want to be competent in. And then next, what you should do is you should make a list of, you should grab the link for the top performing videos, the 4 or 5 top performing videos on each profile. What you're going to do is you're going to start to look at the different patterns that are used, the different formats that are used for that content, and compare them. And then you're going to pick one that you like, and you're going to recreate it, but using your own personality. So what does that mean, recreate it, but using your own personality? Well, that means that if it starts out with 2 seconds at the top with a person really close to the camera asking a question, then you're going to do that same thing. If the next segment is a scene of someone walking, well, you're going to do that too. If the next segment is a scene of 2 people talking, then you're going to find that B-roll to have the 2 people talking, or you're going to create it yourself with yourself and someone else in your space, your workspace, or your living space. When the algorithm signals that there's a piece of content that is really effective, if you dissect the piece of content and then recreate it, but using your own voice and your own personality, then you are helping yourself now to use a proven strategy, a proven framework. And so when you now come out and post something like that, then I think you'll start to see more progress. That's one technique. Do you want another?
That's pretty fine. Thank you once again for that, David Griffiths. So I'd like us to talk about the challenges of the digital economy. Don't you think we should talk on that? Let's see how they can be addressed.
Well, which challenges would you like me to speak on?
Yes, I'd like us to talk about, especially the social media platforms.
So um, it's important to understand the culture of the platform that you're on. So, for example, if you're on TikTok, you can post a lot more content than you can if you're on Instagram. Because TikTok, it's a younger demographic. They're open to receive a lot more content. You can post, even if you're a busy person, if you learn to batch create your content in advance, meaning that you plan in advance the content you're doing, and then you have an evening or an afternoon where you're going to do a lot of content at one time. That way you have everything assembled and it's a more efficient use of your time. So if you create 3 to 5 pieces of content and you want to post them in one day on TikTok, that's fine. But on Instagram, you should probably post one thing a day, unless you're a little bit more seasoned. But in my community, I teach people some other strategies. But the idea is, if you know the platform, then you can post a frequency that matches the platform. Does that make sense?
Right. Oh, okay. So let's talk about the Quick Wins Challenge. Can you share a bit about that to my audience?
Sure. Um, our core offer in Content Creating Academy, the company that I'm CEO of, our core offer is Content Creating Academy Relaunch. It's a community that allows you to learn with coaching and with collaboration with virtual assistants to support you. But a lot of people, when they join a community, some of them are not at the same level as other people, and they have individual questions that they probably need to answer first before they get into the fray with everyone else. And so the Quick Wins Challenge is actually your opportunity to work one-on-one with me to get a few quick wins in a specific area. This allows you, first of all, you feel excited. We get clarity on what area we're going to work on. I give you some techniques and a framework to get going and make progress. So you feel really excited because it's individualized to you. And most of the coaches that are at a high level don't do one-on-one, or it's really expensive. But this is not very expensive. It's actually a low ticket offer. And it's because I realized that a lot of people wanted the assurance that you can actually help them before they make a major investment. So I thought, okay, this is a way that I can help people. I can show people that I can help them by actually helping them and helping them to get focused, because too many times we don't have enough clarity and focus on what we're doing. And so we don't make the progress that is really tangible that we would make if we just had a highly targeted approach.
David, my audience would like to know if you have any important information or projects you think is going to be beneficial to them. It's time for you to share that if you have any.
I think as you're doing business online or you're doing social media, the most important concept for you to remember, in addition to being authentic, is to use leverage. You want to make sure that you figure out a way so that each thing that you do, it goes the furthest. So an example of leverage is I create a piece of content that's longer, and then I use a software to chop up and make reels. And so the different reels now can be used on platforms that have short form content like Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, or on TikTok, right? But then the long form content could be posted like on YouTube. So that's an example of using leverage. You really need to use leverage because nowadays people are leveraging automation. They're leveraging labor. They're getting virtual assistants to help them with stuff. And if they're using leverage, if your competitors are using leverage and you're not, unfortunately, you'll be left behind. So I really want to encourage everyone, be authentic, develop a personal brand, but use the leverage available to you, like software that can help you, like having a community, having a coach. But make sure that you have a strategy that makes each unit of effort that you do spread further and faster.
Absolutely. Great. Thanks for sharing that with my audience. Any social media platforms, your website, so the audience can connect.
On YouTube, I'm at David Griffiths Music. On TikTok, I'm David Griffiths '07. On Instagram, I'm David the Digital Creator. And on Facebook, I am at Orphan Helper. Orphan Helper.
All right. Absolutely good to know. Thank you once again, David Griffiths. You're a sought-after coach and mentor in the digital space, also an accomplished gospel recording artist. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and really appreciate your time on today's show, especially as we talked about how we can break through the noise and you offer practical steps that can get us noticed in a crowded digital world that we are in presently. Thank you once again for sharing your thoughts. I wish you best of luck in all the projects that you embark upon, David.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
All right, it's a pleasure once again having you on the show. If you'd like to catch up with any missed episodes of Live Knowledge by Omobola Stephen, you can do so on any cross-promotion platforms or any podcast distribution platforms online, and you have a great time listening to the show. I sincerely wish you all the best, and I really want you to stay safe always. I talk to you soon. Thank you once again, David. That was a great show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe and leave us a review.